Alright, so I'm right. Oh, I said I wasn't gonna look at the map. Alright, so I'm right here, so my house is right over there. Because there you can see the entrance to... Now that was a legitimate creeper. You can see the entrance to the whatchamacallit. Oh no! I forgot to end off the episode! Well, hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Pass Up Survival. I'm your host, MegaShadowFist, in the second episode of the recording session, yada yada, what I usually say. Dang it! I got so preoccupied by figuring out where I was that I forgot the time. Which is really unfortunate, but... what are you gonna do? Jeez, I'm going through, like, torches like nobody's business. But what are you gonna do? Anywho, Leader Hosen. Now, because mining can be a bit monotonous, I guess it's time to break off into story time and tell you a little bit about what's going on in my life, if you care to know. If you don't, that's fine. You can just exit out of the video and then go punch yourself in the face because you're a terrible person. I don't know. Yep. Anyway. Have I ever told you why they call me the Dragon of the West? It's not because I am addicted to Skyrim or anything. It's because I'm a firebender. Actually, no. If I were to choose, like, to be a bender from, like, Avatar: The Last Airbender / Legend of Korra, or, like, the Avatar: The Last Airbender franchise, I should say, I would definitely be an earthbender, with waterbending coming at a second. Firebending, I don't know, it just seems so impractical, because, like, the only thing you could really do with it, I mean, you could like, heat your tea or something, or it could help you, like, keep warm. If someone were to, like, strike you with lightning, you could, I mean, if lightning were to strike and it was about to strike you, you could, like, redirect it and send it other places. You could power stuff with your electricity powers. But most of it is usually just for fighting, and, you know, fire causes a lot of destruction. Earthbending has a lot more practical uses to it. And, you know, if you were blind, you know, like Toph, you could still essentially see with... I don't know how she does it. Like, she senses the vibrations in the ground, and then from there, she's able to create a mental image and basically see where everything's going without really seeing, which is interesting to say the least. That's actually one thing I was, like, thinking about this, like, today, because I've been watching this show from the 50s. Actually, you can catch it on YouTube, full episodes on YouTube. It's called What's My Line. It's like some it's not a talk show, but a game show from the 50s where you know, you have, like, these hosts, like, it's hosted by John Daly, and they have these random people who have, like, these odd jobs, and you have these four, I guess, hosts of the show. Like, John Daly's the main host, but you have 4 other hosts. 3 main hosts, which consisted of Dorothy, is it Calgillan, I believe? Arlene Francis and Bennett Cerf. Yeah, Dorothy Callaghan. And then a random guest. I've actually seen Errol Flynn on there once, but they're these people who have this random odd job, and the I guess the hosts are supposed to guess, you know, what the job is, and, you know, they have whatever, like, it's like they have to ask, like, yes or no questions, kind of like 20 questions, and if they get a no, then $5 is awarded to the challenger, and if they miss 10 guesses, the challenger can win up to $50, which in American money, I was like, because, like, I had inflation calculator up while I was watching a few of these. That's around about $500, about $477 actually, depending on the year. But and every episode they also have, like, a celebrity challenger where all the people, like, some people who really aren't that popular nowadays, but back then they were pretty popular, so you'd have the host, they put on blindfolds and have to like ask questions like, are you a theater host? Are you an actor? Are you a singer? But anyway, Sammy Davis Jr., if you don't know who he is, that's rather unfortunate. He is a singer/actor. He was part of the Rat Pack, which, you know, from the original Ocean's 11, along with Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra. But anyway, I was like looking up like his biography actually yesterday, and apparently he lost his eye in a car accident. And I need to make more torches. He lost his eye in a car accident, and he had to like get a glass eye. And well, he appeared twice on What's My Line. One time, the first time he had an eye patch. The second time he had a glass eye. But another person who was on What's My Line actually volunteered to donate an eye to Sammy Davis Jr. in case he were to lose the eye. But, in case he were to lose a second eye. And that kind of makes me wonder, it's like, why don't they have, like, a system where, like, people, like, donate, like, their eyes? Like, you were to, like, sign up a waiver or something, it's like, if I were to die, I'd like my eyes to be donated so that someone who was, like, blind could ever get them. Well, they probably do have that, but I imagine that surgery is probably so expensive that not everyone's able to get it, I imagine. But, you know, that kind of, it just makes me wonder. It's like, as if I was dead, I would do that. It's like, I'm dead, I'm not going to use those eyes for anything. Might as well have someone else put them to use. Even though, would that be creepy, though, if you, I'm trying to find, like, a source, but it looks like I've been through everything. Would that be creepy if, like, you were, like, walking... I don't know how I would feel if I knew that, like, the eyes that I were carrying weren't, like, actually born for me. They were actually used by someone else. And potentially seeing things that I personally would not want to see. But, you know, it's either go about living blind or have someone else's eyes. And I'd much rather have someone else's eyes and go about living blind. I don't know, it's just one of those things. It's like... I don't really have this anymore, but I always had this, like, irrational fear when I was younger that, like, I would go to sleep and, like, I'd wake up... Oh, how's it going, Skelly Butt? I would wake up, like, the next day and, like, not be able to see, or something like that. I don't know. It was, I don't know why, because my vision's fine, for the most part. I mean... my right eye is stronger than my left eye, and my left eye is a bit weaker. And I do wear contacts because of that, but I can actually see a fair bit without contacts. A lot more than you think. Like, my dad, he has it in his head that because, like, I wear contacts/glasses, like, I can't see without my glasses. It's like, no, that's not the case. I can see pretty well without them, actually. It's just, at least according to the optometrist, it's because my left eye is weaker. Like, your brain is basically, it's, like, over-efficient. And if it finds that something is, like, an unnecessary tax on the brain's, on its, resources, it'll, like, it'll make it stop working. So, like, what would happen is that if I didn't wear contacts and have, like, corrective vision, you know, to, like, sort of, like, trick my brain into thinking that I can actually, like, see, you know, 20/20 with my left eye, it would slowly begin to, like, take priority off of my eye and then, eventually shut it off completely, and I wouldn't be able to see out of my left eye to begin with. I mean, I would be kind of cool, I guess, because I could walk around with an eye patch. But at the same time, no, because I would very much like to see with both eyes, because when you lose an eye, you lose your sense of depth perception. Because, you know, I have 21, that number is always following me. I have, this, thingy where, like, one of my common Halloween costumes is, like, a pirate outfit, and I have, like, an eye patch, and, you know, you'd be amazed at how much you use, how dependent you are on both eyes, even though everyone has an eye that they're more dominant with, if they look out. That's why, like, whenever you go shooting, I don't know how many of you have ever gone shooting before, but, you know, they ask if you're right eye or left eye dominant, if you don't know, they'll have a test, and, you know, a lot of people think that, like, you know, you shoot, like, right-handed or left-handed. You know, you don't shoot right or left-handed. You shoot based on your eye dominance. And if you are right-eye dominant, you obviously hold the gun to your right shoulder. And if you're left-eye dominant, you can be left-eye dominant. You can be right-handed and still shoot left-eye dominant. Just saying. But, that's neither here nor there, as I usually say, because I need to come up with better transitions for words. Actually, what I wanted to talk about, like, I was talking about my life, actually, what's been going on. I've been watching, if you've noticed, if you've been following my Twitter for, like, the past month, I've been going on, like, a movie rampage, which has slowly been dying down, because I haven't really been watching a lot of as many movies lately. Like, the most recent movie that I watched was Letters from Iwo Jima, directed by, Clint Eastwood, starring, what do you call it, well, it's, Ken Watanabe. That's the only actor who I know, because he's played in other movies like Inception and a lot of other movies, which I can't really think of right now because I'm an idiot. But he's played in a lot. He's played in a lot of movies. An Academy Award winner of Japanese descent. Basically, it's it's about the battle in Iwo Jima, but it's told from like the Japanese perspective, which is interesting. How like you watch a movie. The movie got like a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is crazy because those people on Rotten Tomatoes are, some of the pickiest people in the world. I would liken them to like most anime critics. So, I don't like reading reviews for anime from people because like I find that like the people who do reviews for anime are like some of the most like bitter people in the world sometimes. It's kind of like, anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it was really good. It was kind of interesting though. It's because it's like, like me being American, like you already know what happens with Iwo Jima and everything, but it's like you kind of wanted the Japanese to beat the Americans for whatever reason. It was kind of like, because like you actually felt for the characters. They weren't just like the mindless zombies that were in those Superman / Popeye cartoons. If you're curious about those ones, you can look them up. Let's see, I've seen the Popeye cartoons where You're a Sat, Mr. Jap, and Scrap the Japs, and they had like 2 Superman cartoons, which I can't really remember the name of, but they weren't like these heartless beings. They were like people with pride and everything. But I actually ordered another movie from Netflix, which is the companion movie for Letters from Iwo Jima, also directed by Clint Eastwood, which came out in the same year. But it's called The Flags of Our Fathers, and it's basically the American perspective, essentially. I tried getting the movie, unfortunately the DVD that I got, because the movie was not available on Instant Stream, the DVD that I got was, scratched. It had this big scratch in the center of the disc, and I didn't notice it at first, but then, like, I was like, why isn't this, at first, because, like, my Power DVD on my laptop wasn't working. I was like, maybe my laptop's just being stupid, because it's not the most powerful laptop in the world, and sometimes it can have random slowdown, especially because of how much CPU I use with, making videos and rendering with Adobe Premiere, which uses a lot of CPU, mind you. But no, it had a big scratch, which, that's the next movie that I wanted to see, the companion piece to it. And then, I haven't watched a movie. What was the most recent movie that I watched before that? I think it was was it The Amazing Spider-Man? No, I don't think so. It had to have been another movie. Cause it's been like, I've been watching movies every 2 or 3 days now, during the weekdays, and like I don't really watch a movie during the weekends that much anymore. But yeah, that's that. And then anime. As I said, I've recently been getting into anime. I started when I watched Joshiraku, but then it eventually spread. I watched and finished Hajime no Ippo Rising, which is the third series of the Hajime no Ippo anime franchise. Or manga. It's a boxing manga that's been around since 1989. It takes place. It's about a boy named Ippo, or I guess he's not really a boy. He's a man named Ippo, who's a boxer, the featherweight champion, and it's set in the year of 1990X, because, that's how they do things for, like, certain anime. It's like, oh, we don't really want you to know the exact year, because certain things could happen. Auto-saving in 3, 2, 1, because we don't want it, in case, like, we don't want to predict the future, so we're gonna just stick a little X at the end of this, kind of like, movies, kind of like Earthbound or Mega Man. It is the year 20XX, and Mega Man's doing this, yeah! But that's neither here nor there. It is almost the end of the episode, so I'm going to end this with an awkward noose. As in, pause. How's it going, gorgeous?